Ladies and gentlemen, were you fans of the classic kid-friendly Super Mario Bros. Game on Nintendo? Did you always want to see a live-action movie of it that just took everything that made the game special and just added whatever they felt and just had Mario and Luigi Mario as the leaders? Here we go, because we're covering Super Mario Bros. The movie!
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Guilty Movie Pleasure.
My bad. I meant Mario and Luigi Mario as the leads of the movie, but I said leaders.
I wish you guys could have seen how confident Ben was right before.
I was so stoked. I was like, got it.
He was like, he did a run through, which
in my own brain.
I didn't have my phone with me, so I couldn't record it. But he did his run through, and then he like took a few beats and was like, no, I got it.
So bad. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Guilty Movie Pleasures. We have with us, finally, the prodigal son has returned. Jesse McIntosh is back. He's back. Hey, yes. I'm Ben Begley. I'm here too. But Jesse, it's more important that you're here. We missed you.
It's equally important, I would say.
We missed you, buddy.
Hey, I miss being here.
Welcome
I missed
back.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, friendship. So that's how you know I'm friends with somebody, when I sing in a falsetto the word friendship. So we're going to get right into this because we got a little bit of a late start, so we're going to get right into this. I'm not going to ramble too much.
No screwing around, Ben.
No, we're going to hop down the plumber pipe.
The sewer? Is it a sewer?
In the game, it's like... So here's the thing, already. This is the first video game adaptation ever made, right?
Okay.
It's the first one ever made. I watched this whole what the F happened thing.
Uh-huh.
And it's the first video game movie ever made, and they initially pitched it as like a darker, grittier version of Super Mario Brothers, so that it would bring non-gamers into the theaters to see it, because they were already doing so well with the Super Mario Brothers game, and then The Wizard came out and had Super Mario Brothers 3 as like the big reveal at the end of the video game tournament with Fred Savage, and then there were several things that went wrong. Several directors and writers got fired. It got rewritten several times. The producers came down and saw the set and said, this is too weird. You have to make it funnier. Then hired another writer to make it funnier, did not tell the directors. And then like a week before shooting, they're flipping through the script going, this isn't, what is this? There's all this dopey humor in there. And they had to try and make it work. Meanwhile, I think they said that Dennis Hopper, Bob Hoskins, one of the actors was like drunk the whole time because they were just like miserable. So like everybody signed on to this original script that was supposed to be like a Wizard of Oz, but with Dinosaur Land, basically, which sounds kind of cool. And then it became this. This movie.
Those sorts of stories always make me wonder, why didn't they just like stop and be like...
Because the financiers were pissed and were like, you got to get rolling on this. Like, that's the problem. Everybody wants... That's why Justice League was so rushed. So like, you have a release date.
Just show them the script and be like, actually, like, we can't keep going right now because this is what we have. And like, I understand schedules.
Too many
and
cooks
I understand
in the kitchen.
Things are complicated, but like at some point someone has to do what's best for the project and just be like, not that there's like a ton of integrity in Super Mario Brothers the movie, but like just someone needs to be like, this actually isn't the game. This has nothing to do with the game. This is like completely fabricated from some...
But the creator of the game was the one who was like, oh, I love this idea of a darker take, because video games had just gotten a resurgence with Nintendo. Sure. They had died with Atari. Atari folded. There's a whole documentary on it, Atari Game Over. How video games had kind of fallen off. Nintendo brought it back, and I think they were saying Super Mario World came out when this movie came out, and that's when the screenwriters were like, ooh, Dinosaur Land. That's what we're going to focus on. But, before we go on, I do have to shout out a fellow brother podcast on the network, Action Movie Anatomy. These guys are great. They're on Mondays at 1 p.m. We're going to try and get them on the show. They basically are the gurus of all things action, so they are right up our alley.
And they wear suits. Which is
every time they're on our
step up.
Every time they're on our show, I'm just like, shit, I should have at least worn a tie. But yeah, Action Movie Anatomy. Check it out, 1 p.m. on Mondays. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I will say, I own this DVD. I watched it as a child. It came out in 93, I believe, yes. which would have made me 9. I was 9, no, 10. 11. What year am I? 11. It would have made me 11. I forgot math for a second. I was 11 years old when this came out, and I loved it. Because I was telling Ryan this before, And Brie, I wasn't allowed to see R-rated movies till I was like 13. So action movies to me were anything with explosions and like remotely cool effects blew my mind. Like this blew my mind. Last Action Hero I thought was fantastic. Watching Last Action Hero now, still fantastic. This, I still loved watching this, but it's one of the... Josh McCouga would appreciate this. This movie is up there with Garbage Pail Kids for me, where I recognize it's a terrible film, but holy hell, I had fun watching it, and the nostalgia really kicked in. Now that I said that, I'm very intrigued on how, Jesse, how you felt having never seen this.
Well, first of all, I had not seen it. I want to investigate the idea that you were watching R-rated movies at the age of 13 because you're supposed to be 17.
Here's the thing. I was only able to watch certain ones. My parents would check the MPAA listings in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And it would say if it was mild violence and swearing, it was okay. If there's any sex or nudity. So the weird thing was my parents were cool with like violence, but like show me a boobie and suddenly, oh no, that'll corrupt me.
Sure, save that for...
That's the American way.
Deep dish orgy.
Get those filthy boobies away from me.
Yeah. So...
You remembered the title of the porn.
Of course. Of course, I'm never going to forget
that. That was
the title.
a deep dive for anybody who wasn't here for that episode. Deep Dish Orgy was the strangest and first porno I ever saw at a friend's house.
It made quite the impression on you, and then several years later, quite the impression on me.
Every time I'm at a pool, I think of the float scene.
Yeah.
I don't know where you came from, but I'm glad you're here. That's great screenwriting.
All right.
Anyways,
Speaking of great screenwriting.
Did you see this? Have you ever seen this?
I have never
Did you know
seen
anything about it?
I played Super Mario Brothers.
Okay. Did you know it existed?
I knew it existed. Yeah. See, okay. So this is my number one issue with this movie is this song. I think played in the very, very beginning.
When the logo of whatever.
But never once played in like an action sequence.
No, they kept playing that same awful score where it was
Why?
like this super happy-go-lucky weird score.
Why didn't they play that? That's one of the most iconic. It's not even a song.
They
it's just
threw
like
in little things when they had like the jetpack shoes. I forget what those are called.
Yeah.
They threw in like the like a little bit here and there.
But what happened with that song? Like, just putting that song in an action sequence
would have heightened it.
It just would have at some point tied the movie into the game in some way.
They tried every once in a while with the ba-bomb.
Yeah,
which the ba-bomb sequence is my favorite. Because it's the shortest fuse ever.
Yes.
And it goes for like 7 minutes of the movie. It's like Chekhov's ba-bomb.
Yes.
And then it happens to go right under, which I get that the fungus is... Oh, there's so many things. We got to unpack.
There's a lot.
So what are your thoughts having never seen it?
So what you texted me last night was you might hate it. Think of it as like a joyful 10-year-old watching this movie, and I did my very best to do that. And I feel like I did an all right job of it. And so, objectively speaking, this is a terrible movie.
It's terrible.
But I understand how like having an attachment to it from a young age would increase your enjoyment in watching it now. But the only thing, which I've touched on a couple times, I just wish that it felt more like playing the game.
Yeah.
It's
so weird.
It's not at all. My experience
There's
playing
so
the
many
game
choices.
had nothing to do with watching this movie, and I just wish that they had at some point tied in. And like you said, there are like little bits, but the vibe of this movie is way different than the game.
They wanted it to be like Tim Burton-ish. It's like a knockoff of a Tim Burton film.
Sure. And like I get that they wanted, I mean, it sounds like there were a couple different tones they were going for, but like I sort of understand the like goofy slapstick tone that they wanted. Like I understand how
that's some of my like
congruous.
Spike and Iggy were some of my favorite because I remember as a kid those two cracked me up.
Right.
The two henchmen.
Well, yeah. But like the rest of it, I just wish that there was some like more significant connection to the experience that I am drawing from.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree with that 100% while I was watching it. The biggest thing rewatching it, I wish they had committed more to this other version of it. Like if you're going to make the biggest hurdle for me to leap over. So the basic premise, and we'll get into the plot in under 3 minutes right after this, is that a meteor hit and instead of killing the dinosaurs, it basically knocked them into a parallel dimension.
Right.
Which I'm kind of cool with that concept.
Sure.
But then they evolved to look exactly like us.
Yep.
Which just from a scientific standpoint makes zero sense. Like you can't, and I like that some of them were like half lizard people still. I wish that they all except King Koopa, who would like he had like this de-evolver and this machine that just went evolve, devolve.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But I wish that like he had like wanted to be more human, and so he had made this way to look as human as possible. And then everybody up, but then Daisy couldn't have been human in the human world, and there's just a lot of things. There's a lot of things, and the Goombas that are mushroom creatures in the game are now giant quarterback shouldered, tiny headed.
They were like the men. You remember Men in Black when he like shoots Tony Shalhoub's head, and then Tony Shalhoub grows the head back. When he like is first starting to grow the head back, that's what the Goombas are. They're like these huge bodies with the tiny little monster heads.
It's so weird. So let's get into the plot in under 3 minutes because we got a lot to unpack here and some sound clips and all that fun stuff. You ready in the booth, Ryan?
I am ready.
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna count you in, all right? All right, guys. 3. Fuck, hold on 1 second.
I am 2.
1.
5, 2, 1. All right, so we start off with this prologue of there's the parallel dimensions that hit, and oh no, we don't even start with that. We start with just a baby in an egg being dropped off at a nunnery, at a convent,
Right.
nunnery,
A nunnery.
and it opens up and there's a baby girl inside, and then she looks exactly like Samantha Mathis, the mom. She gets crushed underneath the sewers because King Koopa comes out and sees her, and then we flash to Mario and Luigi and their buddies, and Mr. Scapelli is trying to steal all their jobs, and he's a sleazeball, and they're going to all these different plumbing jobs, and then they go to this dig site where they meet Samantha Mathis's character because Scapelli is trying to stop her from doing an archaeological dig there because they found a dinosaur with an opposable thumb in a thing, and then there's this banter between Spike and Iggy who are tracking Samantha Mathis and trying to bring her name's Daisy in the movie. They're trying to bring her back to Dino Land,
and so they're just like kidnapping women at this point because they're after like a piece of the meteor to complete the meteor to merge the dimensions, because that's what would happen. And
because that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so they like go on a double date, Luigi and Mario, and Mario's girlfriend and Daisy go on a double date, and then they kidnap both of the women, and then the Mario and Luigi chase them down, and they like jump into the rock where they go into this other dimension.
Yep.
And then they're trying
because they have the meteorite piece. That's why they're able to go into it.
And then so they're trying to track Daisy down, but then
it's like a weird Blade Runner.
Koopa's trying to catch the plumbers because they know the two guys tell Koopa that they have the rock, and then the rock is stolen from them by
Big Bertha.
By Big Bertha. And then Koopa pretends to be the lawyer.
Because they get in prison. Koopa pretends to be the lawyer and basically immediately shows his hand.
Yeah.
They escape. Oh no! Then they're going to be de-evolved. So they're taken to that machine. They really easily fight the guards off and shove Koopa into the devolve or de-evolve, whatever. And he turns half dinosaur for a second. Then there's this awesome car chase with them in a Mad Max style police car. These cops are shooting with flamethrowers, and they can't hit Mario and Luigi when they're right next to each other, but as soon as they hit the brakes, they can hit each other and blow up. And then they drive through, they escape. Jesus, what happens?
They like end up in the desert.
Yeah, there's a whole sequence where they're walking around. Spike and Iggy are sent after them after they're evolved, so they're smarter now. And Spike and Iggy actually realize that their leader is a fascist, and they're trying to take him down. So really topical. So then they go and they team up with Spike and Iggy. They're gonna go free Daisy, and there's this big thing where they're trying to get around and get her out, and then
they need to get the rock first. So they go find Big Bertha and they dance with her, and then they take the rock, and then
they go and they free Daisy, and then Koopa and the Snot King. And Koopa's firing a flamethrower at him, and he gets devolved into with the super blasters from the Super Nintendo, and he gets devolved into a dinosaur, and then he devolved into goo, and then they're like, "Hey, I gotta stay here," and then
the mushroom is the father.
The mushroom is the father. The mushroom is Lance Henriksen.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yes.
So the first thing I have to say is the fungus father. The room where he's it's like a giant butthole with a booger hanging out of it. Is viscerally disgusting. Like it was like, hey, I remember as a kid being grossed out by it, but as an adult, I was watching it like, ugh, this is so. It looks really real and creepy and just nasty. It's just like, but it's hilarious as an adult where Daisy introduces Luigi and she's like, Luigi, this is my father, and he's like, well, nice to meet you, sir. Okay, and then he like wipes the snot off. It's just such a weird thing to do.
That whole like segment of the movie where she like finds out that the fungus is her father, and then like immediately is like, that is probably true.
No questioning
And
it.
yeah, like,
that's probably a thing.
This is my father.
That's probably a
that
thing.
makes sense.
Yep,
that
makes
checks.
perfect sense.
And then same thing with Luigi, where she's like, "Is my father?" And he's like, "Yup."
I love just right off the bat how I don't remember the nuns reacting super surprised to a baby coming out of an egg.
Nope.
They were just like, well, this is how some people, it's a new birthing technique.
I mean, there are approximately 1 million leaps of faith that you have to make just in this movie. Everyone is just like totally cool with everything that's happening.
Yeah. Let's
Like
jump
up to and including the like very real life, like the non other dimension part of the movie that they spend in like real life Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Where there's just like a mob boss trying to build on an archaeological dig site that
it wasn't an archaeological dig site until he was basically fracking and they found these fossils.
right. And then it was taken over by, I guess, students at NYU.
Doesn't make any sense. They would have just kept going. They would have been like, all right, screw it. It's so weird. So we already start off with Mario and Luigi. Luigi's introduced and he's into conspiracy theories, which basically pay off with him finding one. It is interesting that maybe this is based on like the idea of lizard people living underneath our cities. Have you heard that?
No.
It's like a conspiracy theory. I don't know it fully, so I'm going to totally mess it up. But there's like a underground lizard people that live in the sewers and have their own existence. So maybe this was maybe somebody got high on peyote and just watched this.
A little nod to Super Mario Brothers.
The bumbling goons, Spike and Iggy, I thought were still funny to me, but maybe it's because I was thinking of like laughing as a kid. They're totally like Three Stooges doofuses, and I don't mind them.
I don't mind them either.
Especially when they get super smart later and just
are still idiots.
still idiots.
Yes.
They're super smart but
Yeah.
complete morons.
I appreciated that bit.
Yeah, you can't fix stupid, you know? You
No.
can still evolve, but you can be smart as hell but dumb.
Can have access to greater vocabulary, but not know how to use it.
Yeah.
That's how it
So
goes.
let's do the first sound clip. This is when Luigi runs into Daisy, and he's kind of bumbling with her, and Bob Hoskins is the more like, come on! This is my kid brother. You want to be with her, all right? Yeah. So let's play this.
If it would help you out, please step into the...
He like dips out there, but what he says is, please step into the van.
Yeah, she's really just immediately. Well, that's one of the million leaps of faith.
Yes.
She's like, I'll trust these two very New York,
Incredibly creepy dudes with a broken down
help
van.
you out, please step into the...
Yeah, vans like what they drive. I know it says they're plumbing, it's Mario Brothers plumbing on there, but it's like faded, and it looks like it could be a murder van.
And it's definitely like it is broken down.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't be able to drive it.
I thought it was
working on
broken, Mario.
Yeah, they're working on it.
I
right
fixed it. I just want to do bad New York accents the entire rest of the episode. Is that okay?
now. You definitely should.
Okay.
They got Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo to play Italian guys, so
I do like that they
feel free to do what you want.
I actually I liked both of them, and I actually think the cast. I remember as a kid thinking Samantha Mathis or Mathis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I remember thinking she was so cute when I was 11. I was like, and she still is. She's really beautiful in this movie. I remember just being smitten with her as a kid.
Sure.
Because 11 was right around when you're starting to be like, girls make me feel funny. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you're getting towards adolescence, and I remember just being like, huh. And I loved Yoshi. Even now, the practical effects in this movie aren't bad. Like the Goombas look cool,
Yeah.
even though the design is stupid. The Goomba mouths and like the creature.
Sure.
The creature effects are cool, even though the concept is dumb, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the design of the city is fun. It's just I wish characters like Big Bertha were like half dinosaur instead of just Big Bertha in a spike bikini.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I
Like,
wish
just commit to the half dinosaur stuff more.
I just wish it was, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, structured more like
the game.
Like I wish
Which apparently the original script with the Wizard of Oz take was kind of.
that's sort of like the vibe. Like I wish that they were on a journey to the castle to like fight Koopa, who was just
Kind
like,
of.
but Koopa was like equally in pursuit of them. Like
Yeah.
it was not. It's not really the way it's set up. It's they should have been traveling towards him and then a final battle against him. Sort of in his element.
I'm always okay with more Dennis Hopper, but I do think I think you would have liked it more, and I'm speaking for you, but what I think you're getting at is if the showdown with him was in somewhere other than a a cement pan or whatever that thing was.
Sure,
it's like they had one set. And they were just able to use that one set over and over and over again of the city streets. Because it is a very anticlimactic moment where it's just like he gets thrown back into that thing and he's just shooting at them and they're shooting at him. And it's like, no, okay.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Or any of the,
would have been cooler to have like a lair that they had to go to.
Yeah.
They sort of do, but it's just kind of a building.
Right, just I would have liked the
you wanted a full castle
journey.
You wanted a full blown castle.
I want a castle, and I want them to be like in pursuit rather than like an sort of like cat and mouse chase.
The desert sequence is a long one,
Yeah.
for no reason. But let's get into this is at their double date where Daisy just nonchalantly brings up her troubled past.
I know it sounds weird, but I mean it's the only thing I have from when I was found. Huh? Oh, I was abandoned.
And I love that everybody reacts like, oh.
Just the way she presents it, like, oh, you guys, I forgot, you guys didn't know.
It's like
I was abandoned.
The only way that I can equate that is like my nieces when their dog died, which was very sad. Their family dog. She says it like how kids say things. Like we went to the store once with my nieces, and the checkout lady was like, "How you guys doing?" And my niece was just like, "Our dog died. He's in doggy heaven now." And it's just like, but it's just like super nonchalant, like our dog just died. And it's just like they don't connect it yet, so it's like,
right.
And they react in the movie the same way like all of us reacted, like, yeah, it's sad, but like you don't know what to say at that moment.
Yeah, and also like
he was really old and sick. Oh, it's getting worse. Okay. It's getting worse.
Well, at least he lived a full life, I guess. She like so the I was abandoned thing like completely overshadows the fact that she just dropped on them. Yeah, this rock that I wear around my neck, the only thing that was with me when I was found. So like, yeah, but it's a rock. Like, so like it was probably in there by accident.
I was also hatched out of an egg. Right. Isn't everybody?
Right. This is like a lot of stuff you're piling on me right now, and I'm trying to figure out what's important.
Yeah, I can't get into details, but I had a very weird date where a lot of exposition was piled on me while at Disneyland.
Oh.
And if you've ever
happiest place on earth.
If you've ever gone on a first date to Disneyland, if you haven't, don't, because you can't escape.
Right.
You're there, and you can't be like, I have to leave early because you're stuck there and you drove there, and it's just don't do it.
I would never
place on earth.
Consider it.
You shouldn't. I was much younger and I was really stupid.
Sure.
But anyways, let's play. This is when both girls get kidnapped. First Mario's girlfriend, then Daisy, and they track Daisy down these pipes and these tunnels. And this is Mario trying to tell Luigi which way they have to go.
I've been listening to pipes all my life. Come here.
You can't really understand it, but he's like, I've been listening to pipes all my life. Follow me, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I sounded more like bad Al Pacino.
You're trying a bunch of different voices.
Just a lot of things.
Yeah, just like
I like the movie. I'm trying a lot of things at once.
But it's all Bob Hoskins.
It's all Bob Hoskins.
Everything you're doing is attempting to be Bob Hoskins.
One of my favorite moments happens when they first get there. So they go through the sand, and Bob Hoskins has this funny, like, kind of pratfall thing into it. I use the term funny loosely, but I still got a chuckle out of it. They go to this Dino Land, or whatever you call it, Dinosopolis. I'm going to call it Dinotopolis.
Yep, that's official. That's canon now.
And it's the co-host with Greg Stephanopoulos and Dinotopolis. Anyways, so they go there. There's all this weird fungus and stuff that I loosely remembered as a kid. And at first I was just grossed out. I was like, what the hell is that? Then I remembered, oh, the king is now fungus. And there's all these weird people that are mainly just like, it looks like they just went into a sadomasochistic like bondage den, and it's a kid's movie, so it's a really weird choice.
Sure.
But they introduced Toad, who in the game is a little mushroom dude, and this one is a guy who plays the guitar and kind of talks like this, and he sings anti-Cooper songs, my bad. He sings anti-Cooper songs, and King Koopa, not Cooper, not hanging with Mr. Koopa, but Koopa.
Understood, yeah. Not Mark Curry.
And I loved like his whole little rant he gives, and then when the police come and arrest him, and Bob Hoskins is immediately okay with just getting in the face of these police in another dimension. He's super ballsy. Hey, you can't bust this guy for just singing a song.
He's a New Yorker.
You know?
Look, it's in his blood. You know what I mean? I think
It's so ridiculous.
It's also like around this time where the women get reunited.
Yeah.
And Daisy gets thrown into like this cell with all the other women that have been captured.
It's like a penthouse.
Yeah, and Mario's girlfriend is basically like, "Hey, come on in." It's like,
It's actually not so bad in here.
why is she so happy?
I mean,
She's been kidnapped into a different dimension, and she's just like, "Yeah, join us."
but she's gotten some girl talk while she's there.
She sure has.
She's made some new friends.
She's mimosas all day.
I would love to see. We always talk about this. A spin-off of just their experience.
What are they up to?
What are they up to?
Yeah.
I want this like Dinotopoulos Sex in the City version of it, where they're just in like the penthouse and they sneak out every once in a while for Mai Tais.
They're just not allowed to leave, but they're still in such high spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to that corner and gossip.
So they get arrested, they get taken to jail, they get ridiculous mugshots and like goofy other Pratt comedy and stuff like that. Because there's a plumber alert. This is why. There's a plumber alert that goes across the entire city, which we find out is just this little city and the rest of it is all desert now because it's all been destroyed. Can we play clip number 4?
Plumber alert.
That's how you catch people in Dinotopoulos.
You know, that's every time something goes wrong in my building, since I'm on the HOA board, I'm just like, plumber alert, any pipe or whatever, it's fine. It's a good one. It was a bad joke anyways. What's the We're the Aliens clip?
So that's when they step into the car and they turn on they escape prison.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, they turn on the car and on the radio's like, we're looking for 2 aliens out there. And Luigi's like, oh no, now we got to deal with aliens.
Can we play clip number 5, Ryan?
Luigi, we're the aliens!
He's always so mad. But before that happens, we got to talk about the de-evolve and evolve machine.
We have to talk about it.
Which is basically just like, it has evolve and it doesn't have any specifications as far as I could remember. But the de-evolve has different like Cretaceous period. I'm gonna mess all this up.
You're doing a great job.
Somebody with archaeological background.
We got a lot of crossover with like a big science audience.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
But Toad gets de-evolved into a Goomba.
Yeah.
And he's the happiest. They're like loyal and stupid, but like from the beginning, he's just a happy-go-lucky dude now, with a harmonica that always plays, even though his mouth is never near. Like as far as I know, and correct me if I don't have a lot of experience with harmonicas.
Sure.
Do they play music by just moving, like walking?
No, you gotta blow into it.
He just, unless he's just, I mean, he is a mouth breather now with his giant, tiny
probably what it is.
lizard mouth.
Yeah.
So maybe just like, he's out of breath because he's hulking around this giant Goomba body.
This all checks out.
Okay.
This
okay.
is
I just wanted to make sure
This is how you make music in Dinotopoulos.
I was just making sure I was understanding the subtleties of Dinotopoulos.
And it is a very musical place.
It is.
Like there's a lot of dancing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
the Goombas love dancing.
A love of dancing.
There's
in
a love of
Dinotopoulos.
dancing.
And apparently, like before Mario and Luigi got there, a big lack of dancing.
I think it was like a was it flash
Footloose.
dance? Footloose.
A Footloose situation.
It was a Footloose situation. King Koopa doesn't want any dancing.
Oh, by the way, he's King Koopa. There was a big like elect Koopa. Yeah, vote for Koopa. It's like, no, he's king. Like you don't have to vote.
You don't need to vote. Come on, at least get that right from the game.
Right.
So the impossible.
Wait, I also wanted to.
Please.
I wanted to jump in here.
Make sure I didn't give
the evolve and de.
I think it's devolve.
Devolve and evolve.
Sure.
I feel like that thing should have just been whatever, like eating the like you get the flour and it makes you bigger.
Yeah.
Like that's what it should have been. It should have made you bigger or smaller.
They subtly do that when they're going back to the other dimension later, where Mario grows for a second and then goes to the other dimension.
Feel free to not do that subtly.
Yeah.
Feel free just to do it because that's a big part of the game.
Yeah.
So just like
I get that the flamethrower was like them being like, oh, they're throwing fireballs, but and the guns the devolve guns they have at the end are actually what was it called, Ryan? The super shooter? It was a gun for the Super Nintendo, the Super Shot or something.
Super Shots?
Super Shot? Was that
sounds right.
I don't know. I feel bad not
I gotta
knowing
look
that.
it up.
So
that sounds right.
We did skip over. So they escape prison. I thought that sequence was pretty fun. The car chase. I like the design of the cars. It's like Mad Max meets RoboCop type thing. And then Koopa has a tete-a-tete with Daisy. I guess he's trying to seduce her or something. It's really weird for a kid's movie to have Dennis Hopper giving googly eyes to Daisy and then whipping out his lizard tongue. It was just a little odd.
Extremely weird.
So then they go in search of Big Bertha. We'll skip over the whole desert scene. Super Scope. That makes way more sense. So they go in search of Big Bertha now to get that. We'll skip the desert stuff. Spike and Iggy get evolved. They're smart, but still idiots.
Still dumb.
Like you said, articulate, but morons. They go to this really weird... There's the aka-laka-laka, everybody walk the dinosaur, and they're all doing this super creepy dance where their heads shake like rattles.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have it up? What is that? Oh, maybe.
Trying to find it.
Yeah, it's super weird. And there's this strange dance with Bertha where he's trying to get this.
Which, first of all, like he's like, let me sweet talk her, and he goes over and she just punches him right in the face.
And then he goes back and
then
says,
he goes
hey, would you
back.
like to do that again?
And she's like,
I like this guy.
This is my guy right
Then
here.
he steals the rock from her, and then she helps him out when they come in and start. What happened? The Goombas come in, I think.
Yeah, she just can't.
God, I can't remember.
She can't deny a man who dances the way Mario does. That's all it is. And who's to blame her, really?
Yeah. Oh, the cops come in and they start tossing with the evil lady. I forget her name, who is Koopa's like queen, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And she's really jealous of Daisy, so she goes in
Killing
search. Yeah. She's great, and so she goes. There we go.
There it is.
So she goes in search of the rock and Big Bertha. She intercepts it and takes it back. And takes it because their big plan of getting the rock out of there is to toss this tiny rock back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
In a club.
Sure.
She takes it. She disappears. Bertha helps them escape. They go basically. We skip to the big building where they're trying to save Daisy and get the rock back. They get in the elevator. And this is where I was like, these Goombas are the most impractical bad guys ever created because they're so large. Two men in an elevator are able to hide behind them for an extended period of time.
And even when more Goombas come on the elevator, they're still able to conceal themselves.
But I kind of love that sequence so much where the elevator music comes on and he just makes them all sway and they're like, "Hi, hi, hi, hi." And the door opens and the main guy's like, "Hi, hi, hi." I love that they just talk and barking. As far as I knew, lizards didn't really bark.
Well,
they do now.
They don't in this dimension, but they do in Donatopolis. I will also say
weird.
it's very strange to me that Luigi's the one driving the "Let's make the Goombas dance" after Mario was such a dancer.
Character consistency, guys.
And then Luigi starts trying to get them to dance, and Mario's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Hey, I got this." But so they both take the lead, so to speak, and in different dance sequences.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like one of them should have maybe just been the dance guy.
Yeah. I think they just wanted to show Bob Hoskins his charm on Big Bertha. Mario's got the charm for the ladies.
I guess
so. So they go. So they. Oh my God. The woman who's the evil queen. God, I didn't write her name down. But anyways. She goes and tries to put the meteor piece back in it, and she gets blown up into the wall and is immediately fossilized, and that's incredible. I don't know why, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
There's this big standoff where they have Toad comes back and helps them out and helps Daisy escape, and then he gets lit on fire, and so she goes back and puts him out, which was very sweet because she knew. Now the thing is, I want to know, did they all get evolved back to being humans, or are they just Goombas for the rest of life?
Listen, they seem to be happy.
What? Ignorance is bliss, just
God
like the
bless
Matrix.
them. That's exactly right.
Why didn't I take the blue pill?
Real quick, y'all.
Yeah.
To come from the chat, William Lowry just told me something I did not know, and I
Please.
just confirmed it online. He said,
What's up, William?
One of the earlier scripts, Bruce Willis was supposed to make a cameo while they were searching the tower for Daisy.
Yeah, because they wanted it to be like, I read that online too, where they wanted it to be like a Die Hard third act type of thing.
Wow.
Bruce Willis. What was
Willis.
Here's the thing. I don't think Bruce Willis ever, and William, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he ever signed on. I think that was like wishful thinking.
Just wrote it.
This is like, you can also report that Guilty Movie Pleasures would love for Bruce Willis to come on the podcast in the same way that Super Mario Brothers would have loved for Bruce Willis to have made a cameo.
I remember I read a script one time, and they were like, "Oh," in the end of it, they're like, "Hillary and Bill Clinton show up," and I'm like, "Oh, so you're gonna get like lookalikes or something?" He's like, "No, I think they're gonna read this and really love it." And I'm like, well, I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't have any notes on this, buddy. You just go run with it.
This is perfect, just the way it is.
Perfect, just the way it is. There's this awesome chase sequence where Mario's running from a taxi cab with a skeleton on it that's just been left up there. It's been electrocuted and apparently on there so long that all the flesh and muscle has fallen off of it. That's one way to get people to get out of your way.
Sure. Yeah.
To promote non-jaywalkers.
Hey, whatever works. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you need extremes.
You need safety in the streets.
Yep.
And if that's how you do it, that's how you do it.
Let's play the clip number 6. What is this from?
Let's find out.
Let's find out.
I got 2 words for you. Impossible. Nothing's impossible, Mario. Improbable, unlikely, but never impossible.
Oh, you're getting... Play that again, because you're getting hints of the music that repeats about 4,000 times.
I got 2 words for you. Impossible. Nothing's impossible,
Okay, that's
Mario.
enough. No, I can't handle it. Every single time there's a remote action scene in this, and I use that term loosely, it's like... And that's where it's like, literally, just play...
Right.
When they're sneaking around the building...
would have been great.
Yeah. Like the underwater theme.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, the under one. But
So-
just when they're running in the streets, that one would have been great.
I do love impossible. I got 2 words for you. Impossible.
He needs to evolve.
He needs to evolve.
Good gracious.
So they have this big standoff with Koopa, who's in and the fungus, which is the king, he's been devolved into fungus that has now wrapped around the city. He gives them a bomb and everybody freaks out. That was a really funny sequence to me still as an adult. Watching all these grown people run from a little tiny toy bomb.
Yeah, a little toy.
Tiniest fuse ever that takes, like I said in the beginning, 7 minutes to blow up. And it blows up right under Koopa, throws him into the... whatever the cement mixer thing is, I don't know, some kind of construction thing that just happens to be there.
Well,
he's shooting his flamethrowers. They keep devolving him until he's a giant dinosaur, which still, the effects look pretty cool for that.
Yeah. And I feel like it just made him more dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know. We never got a sequel to this, did we?
No.
Or like,
Do you even have to ask?
I mean, I feel like I do, to be honest.
So let's play clip number 7 because we are running out of time. I forget where this was.
We can talk about this later, if later even occurs.
That's what he's talking. I think
Can never be too careful.
If later even occurs. Sometimes now with just the world seeming like it's going to shit, whenever I have petty arguments with people or like disagreeing about a movie I love that they didn't, sometimes I just want to be like,
We can talk about this later, if later even occurs.
you know? Because who knows?
Yeah.
Could be
It's
10
an
years.
important caveat to throw in there. Yeah.
Who knows? Let's play the final clip, which is something, I don't know if it's a phrase you should live by, but it's a phrase.
I was going to go the other way.
Trust the fungus.
You would go the other way with that?
Yeah.
Trust the fungus.
You should. You should always.
You believe that so much you just walk around gym locker rooms barefoot, right?
Listen, if
I just threw up a little thinking about it.
if there is fungus, that is telling you something, and you should trust it.
You're right. You should
know
trust.
what I'm saying? Like,
you should trust.
Don't ignore the fungus.
Don't ignore it. Know that there's fungus there.
Yeah.
So they leave Dino Land. Daisy and the king is restored, and it's Lance Henriksen for like 5 seconds. They go back to the real world. They're missing Daisy. Luigi's missing Daisy. She shows up Sarah Connor style with like grenades and a flamethrower, and it's like, we need your help. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I kind of watched the sequel. Where is it?
See, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. And then there's a post-credits tag. Did you realize this?
No, I did not.
It's Iggy and Spike with the actual, I believe it's the actual creators of Mario pitching them an idea for a movie based on or a video game based on their lives or something like that.
Ooh.
It's pretty, it was so impactful that I barely remember it. Yeah. But I would have watched a sequel to this. Oh, that's all the time we have, ladies and gentlemen, for today. Sorry we got a little bit of a late start. This movie brought back a ton of memories for me as a kid, and I fully enjoyed it, even though it's really weird and such a. I'm amazed any video game movie was ever made after this.
It's unbelievable, and I wish that it had reminded me more of what I loved about Super Mario Brothers.
Until next time, where can they find you,
You can
Jesse?
find me on Twitter and Instagram at TooMuchJesse and for Sketch at The Prom Losers.
You can find me at the Ben Begley on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at Guilty Movie Guys. Keep those suggestions coming in. In fact, make sure you do some horror film suggestions because October is going to be all scary movies all month long. And please make sure to leave an iTunes review and YouTube comments and YouTube reviews. It really helps with our viewership. Until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.